Hello and welcome back to the Fantasy Guild. Episode 8 of whatever you comment is added into my fantasy world. Something big is coming for episode 10, so stay tuned and make sure you're subscribed to stay up to date with these updates. But without further ado, let's just jump straight into this episode, because today we have some absolute bangers of ideas that will help flesh out this continent. First up, we have Krasdul the Obliterator. On the eastern side of the main continent, there lies a fabled city known as Lusk. Within this city, the inhabitants of Lusk are a group of hobgoblins. But these hobgoblins have strayed far from their stereotypical paths in life. Their traditional warlike ways have been abandoned, and since then they have built a culture around arcane magic and ornate craft. The city of Lusk is built upon multiple layers. It kind of towers into the sky and it is shaped into this crude circle, but all the streets are interconnected. And the architecture involves tall brass buildings held together by arcing bridges that are elaborately designed. Most buildings within Lusk are uniquely hexagonal, with tall windows of these intricate, colourful stained glass depicting these hobgoblins from Lusk creating beautiful and mysterious items. And these windows stretch up and curl into each of the 6 corners of these hexagonal buildings. And most of the inhabitants don a stylish cloak that is embroidered with gold or silver silk, depicting beautifully stitched patterns. Each cloak is clasped with a brass pin, and each pin is a family symbol or sigil that tells others who that individual is, essentially, or at least what family they belong to. Over time, they have adopted this passion for critiquing art and artisan crafts, such as a valuable painting or a beautiful piece of pottery. The government in Lusk is a hierarchy known as the Austere, and the leaders of this government are covered in various tattoos and many piercings with rich and valuable gemstones. But you can tell that they are not like the people of Lusk, as their hands aren't weathered from this passion of crafting. They are soft with long pointy fingernails. Wealth has spoiled them. The general overview of these unique hobgoblins is that they are deeply opposed to the barbaric ways of their kin that are scattered across this continent. The brass city of Lusk, along with their craftsmen and high mages and warriors, are all quite offended by the traditionalist pillaging of their uncivilized counterparts. I just love this idea because it's a completely different spin on the traditional hobgoblin. I actually have a few videos planned about talking about hobgoblins and their D&D stats and painting some minis. So the idea of Lusk being a complete juxtaposition, this kind of parallel of a band or a city of hobgoblins that have turned from their old ways and have taken up a more cultured way of life. Anyway, moving on. This next entry is one of the most liked comments that the channel has ever received, so I am so excited to share it, and it is from the YouTube user Autumn Ranger. And this is just a beautiful but heartbreaking tale of, well, you'll understand after. To the east there is an island, and this island is known as Paratine Island, but it has also over time been nicknamed the island of the eternal autumn. And as the nickname suggests, that is because this island is stuck in a constant season of autumn. And that's because over 100 years ago, a goddess dwelled amongst the people that lived on this island. And the people one day turned and betrayed this goddess's trust. So in return, the goddess placed a curse upon the ground. And this curse was that there would only be 3 seasons. A season of solitude, a season of pain, and a season of suffering. But this was until 10 years ago, when a small rowboat appeared off in the distance of the island. And as this rowing boat docked on the sandy beach, out climbed a mysterious wandering wizard. This wizard saw and sensed this curse in place. It saw the island dwellers that were stuck in this eternal loop for over 100 years, and they decided that enough was enough. And with great effort and great sacrifice, he was able to not break the curse, but instead trap the island into a single season, and that season was autumn. This mysterious wizard now is a resident on the island, and that is because they have to repeat this ritual every 300 days. A sacrifice they were willing to make to free this orange and gold washed island from its eternal curse. And I think you can tell why that was one of the most liked comments so far. It's just simple and beautiful. I think just this depiction of an autumn covered island is just, well, it's just really cool. Next up, we have Nisia Vera. The city of Ramhorn is located south within the main continent. On a rocky, low land, the soil is extremely fertile and the stones are very fine and strong, and the ores are rich and exotic. So this is why Ramhorn was built and established here long ago, and since then it quickly became one of the main trade centres of this continent. But shortly after the city was founded, a sudden appearance of earth elementals started to be spotted in the region nearby the city. And all of a sudden, since their appearance, the people started to notice the animals were changing. All of a sudden they had a stone-like appearance to them, and as time passed, these animals, their hides and skins began to turn to stone. Some adorned in gemstones or metal ore, but this was clearly becoming an issue. You see, this change in their skin was both a blessing and a curse. You see, as these animals began to change, so did their personalities. They began to become a lot more aggressive, and as nearby passers journeyed through their dwelling areas, they would attack and maim these unfortunate travellers. With extensive research done, it was discovered that the city of Ramhorn was in fact built upon a Zaratan. And a Zaratan is an ancient elder elemental. And you see these elder elementals, they merge with their respected element. And as this Zaratan was leaking and pouring into the ground, and ores and stone around it, it began to change the alchemical components of the rocks, which made it almost a magically contagious. Once this was discovered, this powerful group of magi or wizards formed this wizarding guild in Ramhorn, and they worked days and nights to learn more about this magic, and eventually they were able to siphon some of this Zaratan's power to be used for themselves. Thankfully, they are using it for good. Since then, they have been able to craft and produce their own rock elementals. They've also been able to tame some of these stone-like creatures that were once animals, so that they can become slightly more domesticated or even used practically. For example, some of the horses that pull large carts are covered in rubies and emeralds with greyish stone skin. Dogs have been completely replaced within this city. The common use of these rock boar are dotted around in plain sight as guards to family homes, with their great tusks almost to be made of pure copper ore. Thankfully, the threat for now has been set at bay, but the problem of the Zaratan resting below has not been solved. Maybe an adventuring party will be able to look into this further. Huge thank you to everyone that has been involved in the series so far. I am so excited to see this world continually grow and be fleshed out. So if you have any further comments, please drop them in the comment section below. And guys, that is it for this episode. Thank you so much for watching. As I said at the start, episode 10 is going to be pretty full on, so make sure you're subscribed and stick around to see what is happening there. But until next time, this has been the Fantasy Guild. Thank you so much for watching. Peace.